Homes, are they?
You and I are though, right?
Always.
Always. All
I
right,
just
good.
I just told Mike Christenberry we're changing lives one house at a time.
Exactly. Marielle, are we recording?
Yes.
All right, let's get started. Welcome to the lift for Tuesday, April 28th. Any good news? Any good news out there?
Yeah, Lindsay Morrow is finally getting some of the units sold at Noosh Village after um, a long battle. So her head's not exploding nearly as much.
I've been following the battle. Good job, Lindsay.
Well, thank you. It's a saving grace of Eric. He has walked me off all sorts of ledges, so I owe him a very big bottle of whiskey or something for the headache.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Tell us about that project real quick.
So it's a deed restricted new development in Granby. We have a mixed use of townhomes, duplexes, and single family homes. We closed on our first three, and also Chance. Eric, I talked with him yesterday. So Chance also just gave us the thumbs up. He can also lend and do FHA approval loans.
Wow,
So that is huge. So it's awesome that we can bring in another lender to be able to help us with that. So if you guys have anybody in Greene County that's looking, the highest price point is 528 for a single family home. So they are beautiful with a 1 year warranty.
that's awesome. Congratulations on that project getting some traction and congrats on the big how many opportunities are there for you there?
So there is, good morning, there we have 26 more. So the goal is the town has challenged me to get all of those sold by December 31st. So any and all people, we are offering a buyer's compensation on that. So if anybody has buyers, send them our way.
That's awesome. Congrats. Speaking
Well, thank you.
of big projects, I was up in Estes Park. Was that a week ago? I don't know. I've lost track. I've been all over the world, it seems, in the last few weeks. But I think 2 weeks ago I was in Estes, and Dan Durman showed me his new development that he has represented there. And I believe it's right behind the Stanley. It's in the Stanley Historic District. I think he has 10 or maybe 12 home sites. The first one is under construction and getting pretty close. These range from, I believe, $2 to $4 million, and they are absolutely beautiful properties. So if you know somebody looking for some a luxury property, and they are, by the way, they are beautifully done. Like I walked through a property that they're doing cabinetry, and it's just really high quality and really awesome property, great views. So we've got lots of good listings out there. So anyone else? Good news.
Russ,
Ryan, what
we
do you got?
got we just added a new agent, Brett Donaldson. It's too bad he's not on the call this morning, but hopefully he listens to the recording. He has got other stuff going on, but Brett's going to be a great member of our team. He has years of experience in the nonprofit world. He's built quite an impressive nonprofit, The Cycle Effect. He has a big sphere of influence. He's well respected in our community. He will be somebody that will shine in this business. We're excited to have him.
Ryan, what is the cycle effect?
It's a nonprofit organization that gets, from my understanding, it's predominantly focused. It's the way he told me on the Hispanic community, getting people involved in mountain biking and road cycling,
Wow.
people who are at
I,
risk.
let me throw that in there. It's for girls. It's a girls cycling program too. It's a pretty badass program. Sorry, Russ.
Yeah,
Badass cycling program, Brett Donaldson. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I didn't
Cool.
realize, Ryan, that was him. Nice work. That's that's a very, very cool program. We can all geek
Yeah.
out on it.
Ryan did a great job of adding to our KW family this month with that with Brett. Ryan, tell us about Adam's recent closing.
Yep, and then Adam Blees that came and joined us from Live Sotheby's just had his first closing, and we're just excited because and he's got other things in the works, and we just couldn't be more proud and excited too because he's come over here and he's putting in the work and generating some business.
Hey, Ryan, as you're observing things on April 28th, you just mentioned the words putting in the work.
That's right.
What are you seeing from our agents that are putting deals under contract and making things happen?
Yeah, so it's this is not that interesting. And this is not some sort of massive epiphany. Ladies and gentlemen, the people who consistently show up, they're putting buyers under contract and signing listings and selling homes. And last month in March, we had 79 closings and 100 pending listings in the Vail MLS with 524 properties on the market. We have 6 months of inventory right now, so it's balanced. It's leading a little bit towards a buyer's market. And get this, the median price is still $1.3 million, and the average price is still $2.4 million. We're not in a crashing market, and sellers are getting 97% of their list price right now. So what does that mean? It means if you are representing your clients well, and you strategically price the home effectively, it sells. And when we look at our market center and we've had no profitability this month and there's an empty office, it's not surprising to me that the people that show up in the office every day are selling homes. And Russ is going to talk about a lead generation strategy today, but even as we go through Breakthrough 120, guys, we have to put the work in. You've got to pick up the phone. You need to get in front of people. You need to be logging into your database every day. You need to be sending newsletters, sending mailers, getting on social media. We've got to be having these conversations. And, we have floor duty here that if you pick up 4 floor duty shifts a month, we waive your office fee. It's a great incentive. And people aren't picking. I mean, Nancy can chime in, but I don't usually see people sitting at the desk. And I'm not saying this to harp, but guys, if you want to be in this business, you got to put the work in, and we got to be talking to people, and because whether it's a balanced market, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, there's always opportunity. People buy and sell homes for a range of reasons, and we need to be out on the front lines having conversations with people about selling real estate.
Yeah.
And Leslie can add to this. She mentioned something this morning when we huddled about conversations involving a deathbed. Leslie, share that.
Yeah, so every Monday now, KWRI is hosting productivity accountability huddle. Cody Gibson hosts that, and he had some really, really good information yesterday. I mean, one of the things was, and I didn't talk about this morning, is that whenever you're starting or whenever you're restarting to get this goal of 10 conversations, every single conversation that you have that even mentions real estate, even if you go to Starbucks and order something and you have a quick conversation with the barista and you say, and I sell real estate, by the way, and then you run away, that counts. That counts because that's starting to get you into the habit of talking about it without starting to feel less and less uncomfortable. And on that feeling less and less uncomfortable, the people who matter in your life are the ones who you want to have surrounding your deathbed. So when we talk about this limiting belief, and I will tell you, I will share honestly that I have this too, is we don't want to pick up the phone and call people because we don't want to feel like we're being intrusive. Well, does it matter if you're intrusive, if these aren't the people who are going to be around you in the last moments of your life? And Cody talked about that yesterday, and that really hit me because I have a very strong feeling, and it is a very limiting belief that every single conversation that we have with people is going to matter forever and ever, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't. So pick up the phone, make the calls, and if you're afraid that somebody is going to get mad at you because you picked up the phone or had a conversation about real estate with them, they don't matter. They don't matter, guys. If they get mad at you, they don't matter. Unless you want them to be, again, around your deathbed, doesn't matter. So,
And I'm going to add this. I don't want to take too much time, Russ, but this is important. I've shared this story in Breakthrough 120. I got a phone call maybe a couple of months ago from a random number from a gal that I didn't know, and she was helping a mutual friend of mine in a low point of his life. Didn't know her. We had a conversation for 10 minutes about his situation. I said, I'm happy to help with whatever I can help with. And that was it. I didn't hear from my friend for maybe a month. So I called this random woman that I've never met and just says, hey, have you heard from so and so? No, I haven't. She talked and talked and talked. And she says, hey, you're in real estate, aren't you? You're a realtor. And I said, why do you ask? And this particular woman who I've never met is very well connected in our community. She knows everyone. And she says, well, I have a client that I work on, and he's very unhappy with his real estate agent, and his listing is about to expire. And I have already given him your name and a good word because some of our mutual friends have spoken highly of you. And I have a listing appointment with this guy tomorrow. And she says, Ryan, he's already going to hire you. And this is a $6.5 million listing. And we never even talked about real estate.
Yeah.
We got to have conversations, and it doesn't need to be this sales pitch about trying to generate business. It's just merely connecting with people and managing your relationships in an effective way.
Love that. All right, let's move to our next piece here. Some announcements. Mondays through Friday, we are now doing Breakthrough 120 accountability groups every morning, 9 a.m. I believe on Monday it's actually at 10 a.m. Leslie, check my time if that's inaccurate. It's on the calendar. And we would love for you to plug into those accountability groups. Katie does her productivity coaching weekly on Tuesdays, contracts with Rod on Wednesdays. I'm hosting a new weekly series that we're calling the Mile High Market Brief. And what we're doing for the Mile High Market Brief is we're talking about the latest industry news, for the US, for Colorado, for local markets within the state. Charles, our regional tech trainer, and I are doing this. It's on Mondays. It's actually on this same Zoom. It's at noon. And I hope you'll tune into that. We are recording these segments and we're putting them on the KW Regional YouTube channel if you want to go back and check them out. Red Day is coming up. Red Day is always the second Thursday in May. It tags along with our former CEO, Mo Anderson's birthday. She's turning 89 this year. And Red Day, this year, we are doing a food drive. For those in the Vail Market Center, we're doing a food drive 9 to 6 at the Village Market Edwards. For those in the Summit County Market Center, we're doing a food drive at the Dillon City Market 3 to 5:30 on Thursday. Today, you're going to get a toolkit that you can use to promote Red Day. Now, Red stands for Renew, Energize, and Donate. It's our day where we give back to our communities. It's a day where we show the culture of KW. We chose the food drive because of some of the economics realities going on in our communities, in our mountain communities. And we found out that there was a need for this. The toolkit you're going to get is a way for you to touch your market, your command database or your SOI, and let them know that we're collecting stuff for our communities. You're going to get a phone conversation suggestion that you can use in a TCPA compliant way with your database, a text suggestion, an email that you could send to your database, which includes, by the way, a link if someone just wants to donate. We opened a Venmo account for people that just want to donate $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, whatever they want to donate, we'll take it. And that money will go to the charities that we're supporting that are raising for the that are taking in the food and the money. We've also created a social media graphic for you, and we've created a flyer that you could post. What you'll see on the page on the left side right now is a unified flyer with both locations. We've also got local ones in the toolkit if you just scroll down. So you're going to get that information. Save this date. We would love for KW agents to volunteer and be at the locations during the times. We'll be sending a shift sign up, and we would also love for your clients to be part of it. And by the way, the reason that we decided to use city market and village market locations, because why not show ourselves in the community and shake some hands? We're doing something great, and we are getting our names out there. Rachel Adams Lee is coming to the PPA Event Center in Denver on Thursday, May 21st for a short class. Rachel is a pro at keeping up on the algorithm that makes your social media stand out. Take a quick listen to her video.
How to dominate your local market through social media and AI. My friends, my name is Rachel Adams Lee, and I am coming to Colorado from California, and I'm so excited. We are going to be talking about all things social media and how my last 3 listings literally came from AI. I am not kidding you. I had a 77-year-old pastor's wife reach out to me and ask me to list her home, and she found me, get this, through ChatGPT. My mind was blown. We're going to be talking about the 13 changes that happened from 2025 to 2026 so that you can be found on social media. I'm going to give you some tools, some scripts, and I'm going to be giving you actual things that you can implement that day to build a business through social media, grow your brand, get your following up. But at the end of the day, it's about getting you more business. And that, my friends, is exactly what we're going to do. I cannot wait to see you. I'm going to have so much goodness in store. I'll see you soon.
So if you'd like to increase your visibility on social media, that's an opportunity for you. I want to continue reminding you about the Austin, Texas QL Summit, which is appropriate for 18 to 29-year-olds. This is an opportunity to spend a day with Gary Keller and develop your young person mindset around growth and life. Also coming up from a regional perspective, we've got on June 11th, in Denver, the AI-powered agent. Lauren Lucas is hosting this event. Neil Dingra is our keynote speaker. I spent 30 minutes on the Zoom yesterday with Neil, and Neil's gonna really do an interesting keynote address for us. The event is all about AI. And Neil, who, by the way, has, I think, 200,000 followers on Instagram. He's a former mortgage broker turned AI expert. He's going to talk about what not to use AI for. And I love that topic. That's where we landed when we did our workshop together. Because, AI is really awesome until you use it in the absolute wrong way. Have you all seen examples of people using AI in the wrong way? Can I get a nod or a thumb up from somebody that's okay? Good, I hear it. Neil's going to talk about how to differentiate between great uses of AI and absolutely abysmal uses of AI. And you know what I mean. You see the posts on social media. He's going to help you become thoughtful in your use of AI instead of thoughtless, which just simply drives away business. This day of AI is jam-packed And I think it's worth the drive. Now, we're also bringing Laura and Lucas to the mountains the next day, June 12th. So if you're really into AI, take time to go to both days. But the event that she's going to do at the Altitude Board of Realtors in Silverthorne, I'm calling it AI in the Mountains because I'm not creative and I chose not to use AI to write the name. It's a hands-on workshop, and we're going to cover two topics. We're going to talk about how to use AI to find who's moving into your area. In other words, how to make lead gen easier through AI. And then she's going to talk about an efficiency and automation tools. What's different about the AI in the Mountains event versus the AI powered agent is this is going to be a hands-on workshop. In order to attend, you're going to need to download some tools because we're going to be working on the fly with them the next day in Silverthorne. Folks, this is a great opportunity to invite agents. By the way, KW's luxury event for June is on the 17th. It's in Aspen. It's a morning event. If you are a Luxury Pro member or an earn-in agent or in leadership, you are invited to attend. I'll be there. Let me know if you want more information. Just shoot me a text or an email on this. Next week, we've got Richard Schulman. He's a top agent in Beverly Hills, California. He's going to be talking about simple lead gen that works. By the way, he is not a luxury agent. He works a luxury office, but he deals with all price points. Congrats to Desiree for capping this month. Congrats to Adam, as already mentioned by Ryan, for his first closing with KW. I want to talk about a strategy that I've been thinking about a long time, and it's very similar to a strategy that I use as an agent. And if you're looking at this slide right now thinking he created a quick presentation with AI, you're correct. I did use AI to create a quick presentation. But the topic is, I think, a really important topic. And you can think about this as, how do I move from being a real estate agent to a trusted real estate advisor? In other words, how do I move from being transactional in my business to being relational in my business? And we would all agree, I think, give me a thumbs up if you agree with this, that the agent who is relational and who is an advisor gets paid more in the long run than the agent who is simply transactional. Would you all agree with that statement?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with
I'm going to give you a specific strategy over the next few minutes that I think you can use today, and I hope you'll choose to do it. Here's the hard truth about your real estate business. Most agents, and Ryan kind of said it a minute ago, call only when they need business. They are reactive, they are transactional, and they are, sadly, forgettable. But top agents call when their clients need guidance. They are proactive, trusted, and they're first to mind. Now, if you think about your database, my friend Andy Hannigan, who's a MAPS coach, and he's been on this chair chat before, Andy Hannigan doesn't call it a database. He calls it a data bank because he likes to think of the database as the source of his funds. Your database is full of future transactions waiting to be unlocked, but sadly, most agents don't do a great job of unlocking it. And that's often because they are not doing enough touches, because they don't recognize that every touch point builds equity. It gets you loyalty. It gets you referrals. It gets you listing follow-up. Somebody in the chat just said something. Carrie shared that last quarter she did her DTD2, meaning the daily calls to 2 letters of the alphabet so that you can get through in a quarter the entire database. She offered some value and it created easy calls. Well, today I'm sharing with you a quick way to give your people some value so that they think about you. So I want to share this idea around an annual review. So a proactive conversation that you can do right now with your people is you can offer them an annual review. Here's why you might want to do it. Well, you might want to do it to generate listings. You might want to do it to deepen loyalty, to elevate your role from agent to advisor, to create referrals, because your database, every person in your database statistically knows 200 people. So if you have 200 people in your database, and your database's power is 200 times 200, or 40,000 people. So remember, when you're calling your database, it's not just one person. Each person represents 200. Your annual review could uncover life changes happening in a family or in a household, new jobs, growing families, divorce. And an annual review is easier than a cold outreach. Just like Carrie's call about legislative changes in Grand County made for an easy outreach, the annual review is designed to make an easy outreach. Who do you call first for the annual review? Past clients, if you have them. You might call people that have equity. You might call people who are likely to move. In other words, they've been in their house for a little while, because the average person is doing a real estate transaction with a property every 7 to 10 years. You might start with top referral sources, people that are already sending you business, people that know you, like you, and trust you. You might call investors and second homeowners. You might call your VIP, the people that champion your business, that are what Brian Buffini would call your A-plus clients. Now, here's what the annual review is. I'm going to give you a 5-part annual review framework. Number 1, you talk about a housing strategy, as in, where do they want to be with this home in the next year, 3 years, 5 years? The second part, and we're going to go deeper into these in a second. The second part is to have a discussion about wealth through real estate. In other words, what's their equity position? What's happening to the value of their home? Are they thinking about their home as part of a real estate portfolio? Third part of the annual review is life changes. What is going on in your family? The fourth part is home optimization. How can we make your home more valuable for a future sale? And the fifth part of the annual review is a market update. What's going on in Grand County, in Larimer County, in Eagle County, in Summit County, etc. So the details on this housing strategy, you will sit down with your clients and you will talk about their future goals from the house standpoint. Do you need something bigger, something smaller? Do you potentially need a vacation home? Or if we're in a vacation home, do you need a different one? Should we be adding investment properties to your portfolio? During the housing strategy section, we would talk about an ideal timeline for their next move or for their next real estate decision. We might talk about how the current market impacts their long-term plans. The second piece, the wealth piece, is where you deliver the value of their home in today's market. Folks, your clients, if they watch the national news, do not know what their home is worth today. And it's your job as a real estate professional or an advisor to help them understand their current equity and how it has changed recently. You may have a conversation with Max about maximizing their real estate portfolio. You will have a conversation as part of this wealth section about what they owe on the property, if applicable, what their equity position is, and whether they should be tapping that equity in a real estate way to improve their lives. The third section, to go a little bit deeper, what are their major milestones that they're dealing with? Is retirement on the horizon for them? Have there been job changes? Is their family growing or shrinking? Do these life events mean that they should be making changes with their real estate portfolio? Are they thinking about the future a little bit down the road and how their housing needs to change in order to meet what's happening in the near future? In terms of home optimization, as part of the annual review, you cover with them suggestions for improving their home from a comfort, functionality, or future resale value. Now, folks, that requires that you be a bit of an expert on what investing in the home returns, and you can find that type of data all over the place. But NAR every year does a survey on what does a upscale kitchen do to the value of your home? What does a mid-level bathroom remodel do to the value of your home? What does finishing an unfinished room do, etc. You might make recommendations for trusted contractors and local service providers. Every week, we are sending you via email a link to a trusted vendor list. Those people could be part of your annual review. What renovations should you prioritize for maximum return on an investment? And then finally, that fifth part, to go a little bit deeper, you're talking about national trends, but you're also talking about Colorado trends and local area trends. Ryan just shared with us March data on, I think he talked under contracts and current listing inventory. And he shared, just in a very short moment, he shared some trends that are happening in our industry, or excuse me, in our local area. He was specifically talking about Eagle County. Your clients need to know what's going on. They may need help understanding what's happening in the interest rate area, economic forecasts, what we think is going to happen. Yesterday on the Mile High Market Brief, I shared that Lawrence Yun has revised his outlook on the real estate market from 14% growth predicted to 4%. I think it's going to be flat, but that's just my opinion. But you'll give them a little analysis of where you think things are heading. You might talk to them about optimal time for buying, selling, or refinancing. You might connect them with Matt Neem for tapping equity, for getting approved for an investment property, for getting approved for a primary residence. So how do you book these appointments? Well, you simply call up with an offer. Hey, I'm calling to talk to you. I'm calling to offer you an annual real estate review. And I recognize that you're not necessarily ready to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate right now, but I'd love to give you an annual review since you're one of my favorite clients. And they say, well, what's an annual review? Well, this is an opportunity for you to understand your home's current value, what's going on in the market, and what your options are going forward. If they push back on you, it's simple. We know you're not planning on moving. We are helping you with future planning, not selling today. What does this meeting look like? What's the agenda? Well, you sit down with them. You talk about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You do the relationship building things first. You listen deeply to what they are experiencing. By the way, this could be conducted over Zoom, but it's best conducted in person. You share your insights based on those things we just discussed: equity, market, life, home, and strategy. You recommend some next steps, and you ask them for referrals, because the power in your database is not just from the 200 or so people that you know well, but it's from that 40,000 person network that they represent. In our markets, we have to recognize that this annual review could be the competitive edge that most agents we're competing against never use. We've got out of area owners who rarely hear from us. And when you do the research and find the people and make the call, you become irreplaceable. We've got people that have second homes and investment properties. They've got multiple properties, so you could have multiple opportunities to find an opportunity. And we've got lots of legacy and lifestyle homeowners and investors that we can be dealing with as well. What you don't do, well, on the side of what you don't want to do is you don't want to sound salesy. This is about curiosity and not commission. We don't want to talk too much. This is about asking questions and going deep and learning what is important to them. We certainly never want to use canned language and come off just like a real estate agent and not like an advisor. We don't want to ask for business too early. We need to continue building the relationship. And when it comes naturally, and if it comes naturally, then we close. This meeting is about not just the meeting, but it's also about the follow-up. Let me get you an article on that. Let me send you some vendors that could be helpful. Let me touch base with you in a month with the changes, with any changes that are happening in the market. A handwritten note is an awesome follow-up to these types of meetings. A follow-up email that summarizes what you've just discussed. You could ask permission to record and then send a detailed summary of that meeting. And then, of course, we never want to treat all of our clients the same. We want to personalize these conversations, recognizing that generic feels forgettable and specific feels priceless. So here's my challenge to you. And this goes right with what Ryan said earlier. We are in an industry, folks, where 20% of our agents throughout the U.S., throughout the entire industry in the United States, 20% of the people do the vast, vast majority of the business. But everybody could find 10 people to do an annual home review. And my challenge to you is to take the next month and find 10 people that will sit down with you. Do 5 of those reviews. In other words, not only find them, but complete them. And watch referrals come in, because because your clients will appreciate the level of professionalism that you deliver from them. And I believe that there's a listing out there for you as a result. And you could systematize this. In other words, you could make these annual reviews part of your weekly call block. You could put together a CRM follow-up right in command. You can do it through tasks to remind you to do the check-ins. You can load your notes right into your CRM so that the next time you speak to them, you know what they said, and you don't, you're not that agent, that salesperson who has completely forgotten the previous meeting. You could set this up as a quarterly touch. And certainly you want to track your numbers in this process. So bottom line, the agent who owns the relationship owns the future transaction. We call it the law of proximity. And what that means is when someone decides, maybe it is time for us to sell this place or buy the next one or buy an additional property, they're going to talk to the person that last gave them value, the last favorable impression that they had. So instead of doing what your competitors do and waiting for leads, this is about cultivating them through trust, consistency, and connection. My advice is pick 10 people and get going on this process right now. Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Russ, I would say that
I got a comment or a question, Russ.
Let's let Carrie go first and then you, Ryan.
Okay.
thanks, Russ. Thanks, Ryan. I would say I think Summit now has RPR. It's a great resource for doing a very quick CMA.
Yeah.
And then, but I have found that I need to double check with some other sources as well. So I'll do my own CMA in Flex, and then I'm going to also pull Zillow's. So I have 3 different data points when I'm working up that analysis. So it doesn't have to be this thing that is super tedious and takes a ton of time. You know, if you're, once you get good at it, you can probably have this done in about 10 minutes per property.
100%. I agree. And I like the comments you put in. This is a great opportunity for them to update their homeowners insurance if their home is valued lower than their current CMA. Super point, great point. And that's what being an advisor really is all about. Ryan?
Yeah, I actually was going to ask you, Carrie, a question. When we were at James Shaw Shift at the end of the month last month, your name came up. He mentioned your name that you have unique ways. I think he said unique ways or sophisticated ways, something along those lines of doing CMAs. And my question to you, Carrie, Russ talked about things that we can do to a home for the homeowner to improve the value or to make it more impressive. I'm curious, what is your strategy when you do a CMA and you compare two properties, one that's has time appropriate finishes and one that's not, without going into too much detail at the end of the hour here? How do you take that into account, Carrie?
So I would do a price per square foot adjustment. So if, you know, if my comp is pretty dated and my subject is really nice, then I would do anywhere from like, depending on the area and the property, anywhere from $25 a square foot to $100 a square foot to adjust for those updates. And that would
Okay,
just be a separate line item in the CMA.
and $25 to $100 a square foot, where do you get that number from?
Well, it's kind of just based on experience, but I've also like cleared all of my adjustments through my favorite appraiser. And I check in with her about once a year to just make sure my adjustments are still appropriate.
Interesting.
Carrie, would you be willing to share your strategy on an upcoming
Yeah.
lift?
I would I can send the interview that I did with James where I went through the entire thing, how to do the CMA with the group,
Yeah,
and then people can just watch it whenever they have time.
love that. Awesome. Okay. I have a tool, by the way, that you can take to your clients, or that you can use with your clients. If you want that, shoot me an email and I will get that to you. If you're interested in having a further conversation about this. Don't forget pro coaching every Tuesday. And we will see you on May 5 with Richard Schulman from Beverly Hills. Talk to you all soon. Have a great week. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Russ. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.